This is only a test.
RTA Victor.
Do not try to adjust the picture. A new form of television is here.
So Merry Christmas from Susan Wojcicki.
You see, Antoine, you're struggling to have what you want, while the world sits there and tries to make you choose. The one thing they love more than a hero is to see a hero fail.
Basically, kind of laughing about the whole situation.
What?
And to that, I say this: I was actually a really big fan.
Where's Antoine Kudo?
As of this June of 2020, I'm gone.
We need him back.
But if you happen to be watching this, dude, I didn't know you were such a dick. So I guess the only thing I have to say in relation to that is go fuck yourself, you salty ass cunt.
Where will I go? That's something for me to figure out. But I want you guys to know, for the time we had, it was fun.
That response was gay as fuck.
Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy's feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head, and they keep falling. So I just did me some talking to the sun, and I said I didn't like the way he got things done. He's sleeping on the job, and those raindrops are falling on my head, and they keep falling. But there's one thing I know, the blues they send to greet me won't defeat me. It won't be long till happiness steps up to greet me.
All these Nintendo characters, my personal favorite, Chris Pratt.
You know, I gotta say, in my whole life, I've never been this happy. In my new home, my new life, every day's an adventure.
I think this tells me it's gonna be a very nasty day.
So much stress-free compared to the stress of YouTube. If anything, I belong here, like I'd never belonged before.
Oh my god! Look at this rain! Sucks!
But that doesn't mean my house will be turning red. Crying's not for me, because I'm never gonna
Was this as worse as the floods? Fucking hell. Fuck this.
Family is a concept that even myself tend to question. My relationship with them has always been split from good and bad. As much as I try to hide the dysfunction I lived through, sometimes even I find it hard to keep it all inside. I've talked about many cartoon shows that involve families and how they revolve around within their lives. Examples include Caillou and his shitty parents, Goku and how he's prepped Gohan to awaken his true power, and even Spot the dog's role as a dog who wants to be a boy, but deciding to take the new route and becoming the boy's new father. But even with these shows, some families have their imperfections. No one will always agree or get along, but we all strive to have each other's backs, because that title holds us together. That's when I remember the show The Amazing World of Gumball, a cartoon that shows how even dysfunctional families can also love and fight for each other. It stars the titular character Gumball Watterson and his bizarre adventures.
The money I have to go and earn to feed you kids.
The kids you decided to have sex with.
Gumball lives with his best friend and technical pet fish Darwin, his younger sister Anais, his mother Nicole, and father Richard. The family all have their distinct qualities. Anais is smart and perhaps too smart for the family. Gumball is a troublemaker. Nicole has a temper that at times throws her in absurd situations. Richard is not so bright but has a lot of heart. and Darwin serves as support for Gumball and at times the family. No matter what crazy situation, encounter, or threats occurs, the Wattersons would always tackle each thing together for the most part. It's a cartoon intended for comedy, so naturally things always blow out of proportions, but the sentiment still stands. A family comes together when everyone puts aside their differences in order to tackle an issue. Even myself. My family is a story of overcoming obstacles and the realization of what trust really means.
When I was a boy, I went to church.
I was the only child. It was just my mother and father. My mother I was close with, but my father was very distant. It was a shame though. I remember he used to be so energetic and full of life. But maybe the Modelos have greatly influenced his mind. Oh well, my mother kept to herself and her own thoughts. I think she knew Dad just didn't care enough. During the early years, there was no abuse within the household. I just had a good-for-nothing dad that looked at everything in disappointment. Kind of like BoJack Horseman's dad. He's a loud-spoken drunk, but whatever say, matter not.
Pearls are for ladies, BoJack. Pearls are for ladies.
My very existence is on a tightrope. He's just waiting for me to fall off. The love of this family is nothing but forced, and maybe that was enough to keep going. I remember I was little and I would always try to sneakily play cartoons on the TV in the living room. I tried not to play the audio too loud, otherwise I'd risk getting in trouble. I was up watching shows like The Family Guy. I liked how Stewie would be so smart and still play with his bear Rupert. The weird but consistent imagination of this smart child, yet he conceived himself. This teddy bear is alive. That it would be his best friend. I never really had friends. I was always alone. I drew a lot. Other kids just ignored me. But well, everyone ignores me. It doesn't bother me one bit. I like to think God just passes by me, just in case I don't shoot up my school or anything. But why would I? If I were to kill a mass group of people, I wouldn't be so upfront about it. But I digress. One night I was watching a show called Dragon Ball Z, and I saw the relationship of a boy and his father, Goku and Gohan. Although Gohan was barely seen with his dad in the show, it was interesting seeing how this smart, scared kid became such a beast. He had something to fight for, and sometimes I wish I had something to fight for. But that night never lasted long. As Gohan was about to murder Cell, my dad ran into the living room, and he was mad. And already drinking. I was scared and confused. Dad drank a lot, but he would always tell my mom he would stop. He broke the TV with his nail-infused baseball bat and proceeded to drag my arm. I was crying, and my mom started crying. She yelled at him, calling him a prick, "You fucking maniac!" But he would fight back with his own set of insults. He threw me in the back room with nothing but a couch. I told him, "You can't hurt me, or Mom will come fight you for me." Dad looked at me and laughed in a cocky manner. He said, "It's not me you should worry about. It's the bear monster. The bear monster gave me this special juice, and it gives me powers. And if I hear you peep one more fucking goddamn time, I'll let the bear monster in, and he'll rip your tiny little fucking body to shreds. Eat you, claw you, rape you, I do not fucking care. But remember what you have, and who's in control here, okay? I'm not a monster!" And that was that. All I could think about is the bear monster, and how he'll kill me. I never knew such a thing existed, but I kept going. I kept living my life in school and keeping a smile on my face. One day I was approached by an older kid who wanted to make a YouTube video. He was the guy who would be known as Brock Steele, and all we did was make the funniest review videos of all time. I was the camera guy and editor, and he was the guy with the voice and charm.
What is up, Brockler Nation? I'm your host, Killer Brockstar. Let's get right into the reviews!
He had confidence like I'd never seen before. He was amazing. We kept our friendship going through middle school, high school, and beyond. Brock brought up the idea of us living together and making videos beyond, and I was cool with it. I went to get my things. I packed about everything I needed. I was afraid to do this, but I wanted to say goodbye to Mom and my dad. I wanted to say things to him, but I couldn't think straight. So I entered into their room, and what I saw startled me.
It's music with Diego.
This next song I wrote for my wife, Benita. It's called A Song for My Wife,
Benita. Benita. Please stop talking. Thank you.
Startled me. My mom's gangled body tied up on the wall, blood spewing and her eyeballs gouged up, and there was someone there, someone fucking there, in a fursuit, who as he slowly turned around, he looked at me with this cheaply made bear mask. He put his index finger near the snout and let out a shush sound, puts the finger down and says, "She was useless, and so are you." I ran out to my room. I called the cops and told them the whole story. They laughed at me, at my face, yelling at me saying no one's gonna help you or your family. This is not an emergency. Hung up, my tears drying down my face. I ran back towards the room and he was gone. I looked back and the back door was open. He took off. I never saw him again. I paused. As my life begins to reset its meter of desperation, the bear mask was on the floor. I picked it up and wiped the blood off. My dad was gone, but a monster still lives. And what else can I say about my life? I moved in with Brock, we made videos together, I made my own videos. I talked to many online friends, but Brock had a nervous breakdown with himself, so he took a break for therapy.
And I seen the comments, Stewie guy. Don't tell me whose wife I can't have.
And I took over the channel and he gave me permission to do what I want with it. And I knew that with my voice and experiences, I could help people. I listened and I advised. I felt like a real influencer. But I wanted to go a step forward. I love cartoons so much that I wanted to make my own, or at least a character kids can look up to. My dad's old mask was there in the shelf, and I knew I had to take a negative and turn it into a positive. Honey Bear was born! I worked hard to make my pilot, but yet visiting all those networks didn't help start the ground up. I knew an excuse to go up to those networks. I lied about Caillou Shippuden. I auditioned to be a Blue's Clues host. And I tried to go to Funimation to help my online friend Stewie to see the love of his life. It was never about the reviews. I could care less about the reviews. I wanted more. I wanted Honey Bear to be the best thing, but that wasn't enough. And I looked at the best elementary schools within my city. I wanted to go make a difference. I broke in and waited in the janitor's closet until their assembly reached the end. And as the teachers got ready to dismiss kids, I ran in. I yelled my mission out loud. The kids were all but gleaming with joy and cheers. They were horrified. The boy in the mask was a horrifying scene to witness. They thought I came to shoot it up, but I could never. I wanted to make them smile. And all I got to show them was a fake smile. I was mad. I was ready to scream, but one child looked very stressed out to me, so I followed where that boy went home, and I broke into his house and used my father's mask. I wanted to protect him so that no kid could ever fear their dads ever again. I took him away to the park. I laughed and danced for him, but his crying was too overwhelming. Shocked and slightly embarrassed, a few adults nearby got startled and yelled at me. I took the child back home and it was dark out. The cops had me surrounded. I dropped the kid and I ran into an empty home. I knew at that moment my life was over. There was no escape, like the looming thoughts that never escaped my mind, as if my destructive behavior was the result of bad memories of pain and suffering. I saved that boy. I found that school. I staged my fight with my friend. I saw my mother's corpse. Those cops did nothing. My father was a monster, and he knew it. He knew that, and that is what I am today. I am the bear monster. So, yeah, that Gumball show, wow, what a show. So funny and consistent with its consistencies. I like it, it's good. I give it a 9 out of 10, whatever. I took a path towards hell, and I didn't like the result at all. I struggled for those years, and I needed a final chance. Just something to help me fix everything for good. My friend's betrayal over my trauma was the last thing I've ever wanted to happen. But I need to reflect on my life after all. I never took responsibility, because I didn't think I was capable of being in the wrong. but I have to fix this. It's the only way I can fully move on from this life.
Plan A.
Humbled and humiliated to ask you for one thing. I want you to kill Brock Steele.
Plan B.
And I think there is one way to settle this. I was hoping this would never come to this, but now I think I have no other choice. There is someone who can help me. Someone who might take pity on me if I give him what he wants. I may feel ashamed of it, but what he's missing could help me out tenfold.
United States, Canada, Mexico. Go back to Mexico.
If there's anyone that can vouch for me, it could be this man. And all I have to do is get him his house back.
Excuse me, sir. This is Mr. Trump here. All right.
You're about to see this man have a chat with the president.
Oh no, not again.
Get the fuck out! So that was a misfire. So I think instead I'll just go to the next man that can help me.
Plan C.
Wish I was back in Texas. The ocean's no place for a squirrel.
Stewie, I need your help. I can't take it on by myself. Not alone.
So, it's finally time, huh?
I got your balls now, Kudo.
Wake up, motherfuckers, and smell the Cuban coffee. Una